out, and we're going to talk about some more stuff today. This trigonometry stuff, there's a lot to know, isn't there? There's just so much, so we have to make sure we're staying up day to day. All right, but let's talk about the quiz. Hopefully everybody thought the first one was pretty easy. There was one little tricky part to it, but hopefully you got that taken care of. So here we go. We got the tangent of pi over 6. So what was the first thing you did?
30.
Made it 30. And you got 30 because this is 180 divided by 6, right? So then you drew a picture of a 30-degree angle, and you made your little butterfly bow tie piece right there. So far, so good, everyone? Now, what do we know is the length of the side across from the 30?
1.
This was a 1, 2, root 3. Everybody okay with that? Is anything negative? No. Everything's positive. So we need the tangent. So what's the tangent? Opposite over adjacent, which is 1 over root 3. Which has to be rationalized. Did you remember that?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
So how many of you said root 3 over 3? Now, if your hand is not up, do you know what you did wrong? Do you see what you did wrong? Figure it out. Taylor?
Like, do you miss the whole problem if you put root 3 over 1?
Okay, did you have the wrong picture drawn?
No, I just didn't know when you do root 3 times root 3, it's 3 or 1.
Oh, so you actually had 1 over root 3, and then you tried to rationalize it, got the wrong thing? No, a little bit off, but no. No. Okay, now let's look at the next one. This one was a little bit tougher. Okay, so how did you start it? Did anybody try this one? Okay, how did you start it? 180 divided by 3 is 60, times 4 is 240. So you drew, if you did this, and it was not required, it will be in a couple days, when you drew this, I hope you ended up clear over here. Because once again, this is 90, this is 180, so this is 270. Isn't 240 somewhere between 180 and 270?
Yeah.
Now, you are only interested in the angle inside the triangle. That's 60. Now, how did we figure out that was 60? Well, to here is 180. We went all the way to 240. How far is it from 180 to 240?
Oh, that's
60 degrees, right?
okay.
So this will be root 3 across from the 60. This will be 1, this will be 2. Anything negative in the picture?
Also, it's still root 3.
The 1 and the root 3 are both negative. Why? Left, down. Now, I want the secant. What's the secant? It's the reciprocal of the cosine, so it would be hypotenuse over adjacent. So that would be 2 over negative 1. Did anybody get that one right?
Ethan's high. Ethan's high. That's what I had.
What did you get right?
I got the 240.
You got the 240, okay.
I got one a little too far. Yeah, I got 2. Because I thought 240 was.
Oh, you were over here.
I was in that quadrant, yeah.
Are you giving partial credit for this?
Not for the bonus. Yes.
Because the 2's not.
Now, Karen, if you didn't label your triangle right, like if you put the 1 and the 2 and the root 3 in the wrong places, no partial credit for that, because you need to know what those sides are.
I just don't remember what I did.
You just did something that didn't end up with this answer? Okay, well, I'll look at it and see. All right, now what we need to do, no cheats. Page 35. Now, absolutely positively, we're going to have some review, major review, to start pulling all these pieces together. But we still have a few things to learn. So here we go. Look at question number 3. This is on page 35. It says, tell the sign, S-I-G-N, of the sine, cosine, and tangent if you are in the interval from pi over 2 to pi. And now, wait a minute. What does that even mean? Pi over 2 to pi. I'm hearing it. 90 to 180. So we're talking about the interval 90 to 180. Let's go back to our picture. Where's 90? Straight up, right? That's 90. Where's 180? Right here. So if we're between 90 and 180, then wouldn't our triangle look like this? If we were going to draw a triangle in that interval, it would look like that. Now, I don't have any numbers, like 1s and 2s and root 30s and stuff like that. I don't have any of that. But if I did have numbers, what could you tell me about this number?
Be negative.
It would be negative. And what about this number?
Be positive.
It would be positive. And this one is always positive. So, would you agree that in this interval, any triangle that I drew would have a negative number here, a positive number here, and a positive number here? Would you agree with that? So when it says to me, is the sine, the S-I-N-E, the sine function, is it positive or negative? You can look here and say, okay, here's my angle. Opposite over hypotenuse would be positive. How about the cosine? It would be negative. And how about the tangent? It would be negative. And that's all you have to write down. These are the signs. Easy. Now let's look at the next one. Where am I looking in the next problem? I'm looking from 180 to 270. Okay, where's 180? Left. Where's 270? Down. So now I'm looking at this interval right here between 180 and 270. So my triangle would look like this.
Yes.
Now tell me about the sides of the triangle then. I don't know the numbers, but I know this one would be negative. This one would be negative, and this one is always
Positive.
positive.
Hypotenuse always positive.
So when I found the sign, pretend you had numbers up here. When you found the sign, what would you know about it? Excuse me, what would you know about it?
So negative.
It would be negative. Now, for those of you that are, where's that coming from? Remember, sine is, here's the angle. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. What about the cosine?
Negative.
It would also be negative. How about the tangent?
Positive.
Why is the tangent positive?
Negative.
Because you got negative over negative. Now, I want to tie this together with the very last thing we talked about yesterday. Yesterday, you'll remember that we talked about the sine being y over r. the cosine being x over r, and the tangent being y over x. We talked about that yesterday.
Yes.
Notice, look at the problem we just finished. Which quadrant is this?
3.
And in quadrant 3, x and y are both negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
If x is negative, the cosine will automatically be negative. If y is negative, the sine will be negative. If they're both negative, then the tangent would be positive. So keep in mind, you may always reference these definitions to tell whether things are positive or negative. So, I'm walking down the street and someone says to me, Lisa, tell me about the cosine in quadrant 4. Well, I don't need to do too much complicated stuff. In quadrant 4, what can you tell me about x? It's positive. If x is positive, the cosine will be positive. Cosine, the SIGN, the sine of the cosine, depends on x. The sine, SIGN, of the sine depends on
Y.
The sine of the tangent depends on both. Exactly. And that's because of these new definitions that we used yesterday. Okay, so here we go. Look at A, 4A. That doesn't say give me a value. It just says find the sine, SIGN, plus or minus, positive or negative, of the sine of 152. Which quadrant is 152 in? Quadrant 2. Which variable is sine associated with? Y. In quadrant 2, what can you tell me about y? It's positive. Therefore, the answer to the first problem is positive. B. Let's do all the degree ones first. Let's do C. C. Tangent 300. Where is 300? Quadrant 4. What do you know about points in quadrant 4? Down here in quadrant 4, our points are positive, negative, aren't they? X is positive, Y is negative. I want to know about the tangent. Gibran just told us. The tangent depends on both. So what's going to happen when you put Y over X? What kind of number are you going to get?
Negative.
Negative. The answer to C is negative. E, tricky. Negative 200 degrees. Which quadrant would negative 200 degrees be in? Remember, negative means you're going this way. Where would you put negative 200 degrees?
3.
How far would this be?
20.
Oh, do I have to go past that?
Yes.
Wouldn't I be up here in this quadrant?
Yeah. Just so you know, that is easily the straightest line I've ever seen hand drawn in the history of hand drawn.
And negative 200 being in quadrant 2 means that x would be negative and y would be positive. Now, the question E talks about cosine. Which letter do I look at if I'm doing cosine? X. X is negative. Therefore, the answer to E is negative. Will?
Wait, I'm sorry, where are you getting the negative and like positive from? Yeah, I know I see that.
Right
I'm trying to
here?
figure out, like,
Okay. When I label, if I said put a point here in quadrant 2, if I said label that point, what would you tell me the coordinates of that point are?
2, 2.
Negative 2, 2. X is going to be negative, Y is going to be positive. I don't know what the numbers are. I don't need to know what they are. All I need to know is what's their sign, SIGN. In quadrant 2, no matter what your point is, if you're in quadrant 2, X is going to be negative and Y is going to be positive. And because of that, Will, in quadrant 2, cosine's going to be negative. Every time you do a cosine in quadrant 2, it will be negative because x is negative. G, 500. Where is 500?
2.
What's going through your mind? Aren't you going to have to go around once? That would be 360, right? Now how much more do I have to go? 140? Don't I have to go all the way over into quadrant 2? Kids, stop a minute and think. It's 500 degrees.
Looks like a pineapple.
That's more than once around, right? How much more than once around? 140 more? So I got to go 140 degrees. Now I'm in quadrant 2. We just talked about it. In quadrant 2, x is negative and y is positive. Tell me about the cotangent then.
Oh, man.
It depends on both, so when you make a fraction out of a negative and a positive, it's going to be negative. The cotangent is negative in quadrant 2. Now, I need to do B. I need to go back now and do all the radian ones. Taylor, what's on the iPad?
She's trying to help me find the answer because I'm really struggling.
Nice cover, Maya. But it didn't work.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Taylor's iPad. That looks like a composition notebook. Probably fooled a couple people with that. Right? Might think I'm reading a book, right? Right? Reading a little nice little composition book? No. Bam! iPad! Little switch on that one.
B is a radian measure. Any ideas how we might do this? Could we change it to degrees? Oh, we always can do that. So we have 8 pi over 9. So think about it. What's pi divided by 9? 20 times 8, 160. In which quadrant is 160 degrees?
2.
Quadrant 2. I want the cosine. Cosine depends on x, so it would be negative. D, 15 pi over 8. Oh, this one's harder. I might need a calculator to help me with this one. Would somebody do that for me?
337.5.
What is it?
337.5.
337.5. In which quadrant is 337?
1.
4.
Okay, Katie's saying 4, Jabron's saying 1.
4.
Somebody else is saying 4 over here. Okay, here we go again. How far is it to here? 90. This is? This
Oh,
is?
the angle.
And this is? Okay, now, if I'm going 337, aren't I going in there?
Yeah.
So I am, what's the matter, Maya?
I know it's not topic. Did you take 3 people to prom?
What?
Did I take 3 people
I mean,
to
did they
prom?
take you? 3 people take you to prom?
No, I was their teacher. I used to be a young teacher.
Let me take a look at this. How many retweets I need to take to the prom?
337.5 is in quadrant 4.
Okay. Who are all these dudes? You got like, it's you sitting down like a red little skirt, blouse, and then you got like 5 dudes behind you. You don't know?
Well, I mean, I know who they are, but
Oh, they were like students?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
yeah. You know how we have our picture together? See, over the years, kids have just wanted to have pictures taken.
I really thought I was special.
Okay, so I'm in quadrant 4. Tell me what you know about quadrant 4.
Negative.
X is positive and Y is negative. I am doing, this is problem D. I need the cosecant. Now wait a minute. Which of these is the reciprocal of the cosecant? The sine. So I gotta look at my Y coordinate. My Y coordinate is negative. So it's negative. The answer is negative. The answer to D is negative. Real quick, kind of an interesting story. The big picture, I don't know if that's the one that started all this conversation, but the bigger picture there, when they had their reunion,
The ones with you in the black, when you in the black and white?
they came, we all were at the reunion and we took another picture. Now, of course, they didn't have tuxes on and I didn't have a dress on like that, but, yeah, that was neat. That picture is somewhere, I don't know where it is, but yeah, we took that picture.
It literally looks like
Yeah.
So-
like at the front like this.
Yeah, I thought you were at the prom.
It
So
looks
when-
like you were like.
In my opinion, I think you can
Sometime
still
I'll
look
bring
that
in
way.
my
Miss Ford.
yearbook and you can see me at the actual prom. That on the website.
That would be the funniest everything funniest.
Miss Ford, can I take you to prom?
I don't, Jerron, I need to check on the rules. I don't want to get like put in jail or
Oh,
something.
no, I maintain. It's all good. It's all good.
Here we go. Okay, all this is on video. I'm probably going to.
It's all good.
All right, somebody with a calculator, tell me what 180 divided by 11 is. So it's about 25. Which quadrant? Well, for purposes of this problem, it really doesn't matter because 25 and 16 are both in quadrant 1. What do you know about points in quadrant 1? Everything is positive. So the answer to F is positive. If you're in quadrant 1, everything's positive, right?
Yep.
So we don't have any issues. Okay, H, what's negative pi over 7?
Negative 25.
So that one's negative 25 point something.
Who drinks?
Which quadrant would negative 25 be in? Negative.
Oh, negative.
4.
That would be down here, wouldn't it? Negative. What do I know about points in quadrant 4? Positive, negative? Now I want the secant. Which of these does secant go with? Cosine? So I need to look at x. X is positive, so the answer is positive. Okay, good job. I will see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Remember, today we have counting. After third. Don't say that. We don't hate counting.
No, it's hard. My county is not. People have actually a good time.